First off, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has appointed Assistant Inspector General of Police Tunji Disu as Acting Inspector General of Police with immediate effect. The appointment follows the resignation of the former Inspector General of Police, Egbetokun, who stepped down after submitting a letter citing pressing family considerations. According to a statement by the Special Advisor to the President, Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, President Tinubu expressed appreciation for Egbetokun's decades of distinguished service to the Nigeria Police Force and the nation, commending his professionalism and commitment to strengthening the country's internal security architecture. Moving on, the federal government has denied allegations of a ransom, including to terrorist commanders, in order to free the students who were kidnapped from Niger State St. Mary's boarding school in Papiri. According to a statement from Mohammed Idris, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, the accusations are untrue and unfounded, referring to the report as a disgrace to Nigeria's security services, professionalism, honesty, and the daily sacrifices they make. The statement follows reports credited to international wire agencies claiming that the government had paid a ransom to bandits to free the students. The presidency has again appealed to political leaders in Benue State to put aside their differences and work together for peace and development. At the Progressives Governors Forum and Renewed Hope Ambassadors Strategic Summit at the State House in Abuja, Vice President Kashim Shettima specifically urged Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, and Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia to mend fences in the interest of the state.
I want to use this forum to make a special appeal to His Excellency Senator George Akume and His Excellency Senator Hyacinth Alia to mend fences and work as a team. Senator Akume, apart from Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, Senator Akume is the longest serving public servant in our current dispensation. He's in his 70s. He started work in Benue State Government House. He was the director of protocol. He was a permanent secretary. He was a governor for 8 years, a senator for 16 years, a minister for 4 years, and now the secretary to the government of the Federation. You have seen it all. You are an elder statesman. Reach out to our junior brother. Let's build Benue together. Benue deserves peace. Benue deserves development.
All right, moving on. The residence of former Edo State Governor and ADC chieftain John Oyegun was attacked by hoodlums yesterday. The attack at Oyegun's residence occurred when leaders, including Peter Obi, were holding a meeting. Signs of the attack were visible with broken bottles, gunshot holes on the gate, and damaged vehicles. The politicians had attended the party's rally organized to formally receive former Edo State governorship candidate Olumide Akpata from the Labour Party into the ADC.
We had a guest, of course, the former governor of Anambra and one of the prominent leaders of the ADC. And from all indications, an aspirant for the presidency. So, whether that was what attracted the attack on my premises and my property, I don't, because the government here had threatened that if you came to Edo State without permission, his security cannot be guaranteed. He was paying a courtesy visit to me, and bullets started raining all over the place. In my state, where I was governor, Edo State, when did we degenerate to that?
We will just, having had that interview, and I'm glad that Dr. Tanko was able to come in to give us a first-hand eyewitness report as to what transpired in Edo State later. I know that we will still have comments and responses from the Edo State government and hopefully the Commissioner of Police in Edo State as well. But your take on, if you want to still comment further on this and other stories this morning, as I read earlier.
Okay, very good. A couple of things. Number one, As regards the Edo case, I heard the representative of the Edo state government come to react this morning in an earlier show. And a lot of things that said didn't make sense. Yes, we've heard the argument of, it's an internal crisis within the ADC and all of that. But the primary question I'd like to ask the Edo state government is, who is the chief security officer of the state? Who is supposed to ensure security, especially of high political profile people in the state? So if it's the governor, he has failed in his responsibility. Also, owing to the fact that the governor had hitherto threatened that he cannot guarantee the security of anybody that comes to the state if they don't tell him. Mr. Governor, they don't need to tell you to come to the state. Once your intelligence sources are aware that they are in the state, you ought to provide security for them. So the argument of the state government also falls flat. Thirdly, let's even accept that there's an internal crisis. Assuming without causing there's an internal crisis, and that shooting happened because of an internal crisis, is the state government not supposed to provide security and protect people in the states? On the fourth score of these arguments, Governor Okpebolo failed. All I would just like to say is, Governor Okpebolo, please, whatever it's worth, ensure nothing happens to Peter Obi anytime he comes to your states. He's a citizen. He deserves to be protected. You might not like him now because you have political differences with him. But if you are well enough and you are vast in politics, you will know that these things are transient. Today you might be in the opposition camp to Peter Obi. The next day you might be with him. El Rufai was against him in the last election. Today they are in the same camp. So be guided. That's just my advice to you. As regards Egbetokun, yes, the presidency can come out with a statement that is for family reasons. Anyway, everybody gives family reasons. But God knows what transpired, and people that know what transpired. Yesterday, you saw an interview where the police spokesperson was coming out to say that they said money mysteriously was transferred into the account of the son of the IGP from the Anambra State Government Security Votes. All of a sudden, the money was quickly reversed. The question any right-thinking person will ask is, should transfers of government money, should even be made to personal accounts in the first place? What did the account number of the son of the IGP do with the Anambra State government that they can make a transfer? So for all of those that know what happened, you know. I know you can't come out to say it. Maybe down the line when you write your memoirs, you will say what happened. And for those that are saying resignation for family reason, God knows what transpired. But I just want to wish Egbetokun well. He has served the police meritoriously. He ought to have gone long ago, but they extended the term. And I congratulate the new IGP, Disu. I would just also like to tell him, anyway, I know him very well. I wish him everything well that I wish myself. But I want to also remind him two things. Number one, power is very transient. Secondly, the truth is, a lot of people will come to you now. Over 50% of them do not have your interests at heart. Because as it is with Egbetokun today, I'm sure by now the phone has stopped ringing.
All right.
Your phone too will stop ringing someday. Dr. Abati can tell you more about the phone calls.
Let's
Dr.
send
Abati,
that article to him, shall we? Dr.
Having written the famous article on the phones no longer ring in the course of my almost 40 years career in journalism. But let me start with the IGP, Kayode Egbetokun, who has now resigned due to family reasons. I don't think we should waste energy over whether it's for family reasons that require his undivided attention or family considerations as they feel it. The truth of the matter is that he has now left that position. Whether he was jumped or pushed is really not very material. Within the purview of Section 5 of the 1999 Constitution, every power that is given to every player is called delegated authority. The President of the Federal Republic, having appointed persons into positions, can also fire them, hire and fire. Even if you go to the industrial court or any other court of the land, you will be told that the man who appoints you can disappoint you. So that's the basic principle in labor law. And also, of course, if the man says he's retiring or he's leaving, we should also know that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been very fair to IGP Kayode Egbetokun. Now, he was supposed to have retired. He was appointed in 2023. His retirement was due in 2024 within the purview of the existing law, the Police Act of 2020. But the president decided to extend his tenure till 2027. He will have had to leave anyway by June 2027. However, what happened was that the Police Act was amended. In the amendment of the Police Act, Section 18, Sub 8 of the 2020 Police Act says that if you attain the age of 60 or mandatory 35 years required by civil service regulations, then you have to leave. But that was amended. In the amended Police Act, Section 7 removed that and said, no, every policeman, every IGP will serve the mandatory 4-year tenure with a clause retaining the power of the president to hire and fire. So what the president may have done or what Egbetokun may have done is completely in order. There's no irregularity there, in my view. There's a precedence. When President Buhari was there was an IGP, Inspector General, called Mohammed Adamu. President Buhari gave him 3 months extension when he attained the age of 60. But at the same time, the president, said, okay, let him stay on. But he then fired him later, subsequently. So there's nothing irregular here. It's about delegated authority and who IAS can also fire. Now, I still have other subjects to talk about. In this particular case, Disu, who has now been appointed acting Inspector General of Police, is acting because the matter will still have to go to the Police Council. The president is the chairman of the Police Council. After that, the Senate will have to ratify. I don't think the Police Council will reject him. I don't think that the Senate will reject him either. He comes from a very strong background. Most recently, he's been in charge of the Alagbon Close Criminal Investigation Department. He was made an AIG last year. Now he's acting Inspector General of Police. He's a very lucky man indeed. But another thing that people would look at is the fact that he's part of the old brigade, the Lagos crowd of President Tinubu, having served in Lagos 2015 to 2021 as leader of the rapid response team in Lagos. Another question that has been raised is whether or not about 8 DIGs would have to retire. No, that has already been addressed in the amended Police Act of 2020. Section 7 thereof, which says, such persons do not have to retire. So, he is welcome to the position, but he has also been selected at a time Nigeria is preparing for the 2027 general elections. So the simple interpretation is to say that the APC and President Tinubu is trying to prepare for the 2027 election. And perhaps AIG, now acting IGP Disu, may be considered a more audacious, courageous man who can defend the interests of the political party, the ruling party. If you were in President Tinubu's position, I thought, being the man in power, you will like to do some rejigging. You can also look at the issue from that perspective.
Right?
I'm not moralizing. I'm stating basic intelligent issues. Now, as for the president intervening in the issue in Benue State, the vice president spoke on behalf of the president at a progressive governance forum of the Renewed Hope Group. And what he said is that the secretary to the government of the federation should try to reach out to the governor. Now, the presidency is being consistent in this regard. We should note that. Having said previously that the governor is 001 in in Rivers. So we assume that the governor will be 001 in Benue State. But the Benue situation is a little bit more complex. As you pointed out yesterday in the conversation with Michael Andoaka, SAN, namely that there is a conflict between old and new generation politics in Benue State. There is also an ethnic dimension to the issue between the TV, the Idoma, and the Igede, with the Idoma and the Igede saying they too have have a right to the position. And then in Kwande Ushongo federal constituency, we also highlighted the problem that they have there with the factionalization in that Kwande constituency in particular. These are the subtexts, but in any case, this is politics. Whether it is Akume that should reach out, or it is Yancint Alia, who is new to the game of politics, that should reach out, I think that the matter should be resolved eventually in the interest of peace and in the interest of the people of Benue State.
Indeed. All right. Let me just quickly touch on now Acting Inspector General of Police, Tunji Disu. And I'm glad that Dr. Bati brought in the political angle. Let me just dip in that a little and trace his relationship with the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Of course, all eyes on 2027. And whether or not you like it, it's going to be part of a lot of decision-making processes of this present administration. And Mr. Tunji Disu served as ADC, to then Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 1999. He then also was headed the RRS under the Ambode administration in 2015. In terms of the quality of his service, many people have praised him for his intelligence-led policing and adopting the use of technology. He was also credited with reforming the RRS as it was then to being more people-friendly. So rather than the force that we see now and the reputation they had at the time in Lagos State, he reformed them to be more professional in their conduct. In Rivers State, he was also praised for tackling, when he was Commissioner of Police in Rivers State, just for a brief period of time, he was known for tackling high-profile cases. But tracing it back to his relationship with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, of course, the question would then be, why did the president jump 8 steps? The DIGs who might have been considered for the role of Inspector General of Police and, of course, part of their career projection path to go for an AIG. He's not the first. It's happened before. However, during Solomon Arase's time, and Suleiman was AIG, Solomon Arase was DIG, even though Suleiman left that position to become, for Arase to come in. But the question would then be the disgruntledness that might follow this based on the fact that there is usually an aspiration and a career path based on seniority and rank in forces like the police force. And when you decide to jump, then it would raise questions around why. Why move 8 steps to go to an AIG to emerge as the new, acting Inspector General of Police? Elections. Some people would cite elections and, the interests, protecting interests and ensuring that it's your man that's there. No matter how we say it's a political strategy, does it, in terms of institutions and, talking about strong institutions, that should not be the case. Ideally, and the Nigerian Police Council will meet to ratify, but unfortunately under this administration, what we've seen a lot of times is a rubber stamp, whether it be councils that are supposed to appoint or the National Assembly, so it's going to scale through. But what does that say about 2027 and the confidence of people in the sanctity of the free, fair and credibleness of the elections? And then we also look at the fact that he's from the Yoruba ethnic group. This administration has been plagued with stories and accusations of nepotism. And we had a few people who are DIGs who are not from, who are not from Lagos State or the Yoruba ethnicity. And that's another question. The president is not doing himself a good service or for the optics when consistently his appointments are being criticized for favoring a particular, group of people in the country. And that's what I would just say. But in terms of his qualifications, his ability to do, he has a number of tasks ahead of him. First of all, I hear that the Edo State matter has been brought before him, so he needs to deal with that. But also, very importantly, is to see how he's going to be able to deal with internal insecurity that Nigeria is currently plagued with. This administration is looking to tackle it, and so he has a huge role to play in that. But we'll continue to watch, and I'm sure in the course of today's show, we'll break it down and talk about it in further detail. Bye-bye.